This is Hebrew Language Basics, unit on accents, where we'll be discussing what syllable in the Hebrew word gets the accent and how to recognize that both in the text of the Bible and also in the text of the prayer book. Here we go. Remember rule number 5? That said that Hebrew usually accents the last syllable. And I noted, usually. Most words in Hebrew have their accent on the last syllable, what is called the ultimate syllable. In Hebrew, we call this accent milra, because the sign of the accent usually appears on the underside of the word. But obviously, there are some words that have their accent not on the last syllable, but on the second last syllable, the penultimate syllable. And in Hebrew, this accented syllable is called mil'el, because the sign of the accent appears at the top of the word. So the question is, how do you tell the difference? So, in the prayer book, some prayer books will have a mark on the accented syllable to help the reader. Some design or marking over the accented syllable, such as in this word, ketovet. And note this little sign above the second last syllable, ketovet. And in this word, sholeach. Otherwise, you might see a sign underneath the letter, such as here, this little line next to the vowel, haaretz. Otherwise, I'm afraid you're on your own. So, how do we get this resolved? So let me present to you some guides to words that accent the second last syllable with the penultimate syllable. One are words that have the e vowel in the last syllable. So for example, we have the word melech. And notice the accent is now on the syllable before the e. Melech. Sefer. Boker. Mamlechet. Ketovet. Now read these a little more quickly. Melech, Sefer, Boker, Mamlechet, Ketovet. Another way of seeing that the accent is on the penultimate syllable is when you have the vowel A or E in the second last syllable, on the penultimate syllable, and that will be the syllable that gets the accent, as in Malkeinu, Havinenu, Moshiehu, Elohecha, Takemna, Tisibena, Susoteha. And more quickly, Malkeinu, Havinenu, Moshiehu, Elohecha, Takemna, Tisibena, Susoteha. A third sign for the penultimate accent is when you have a a vowel in the second last syllable, as in potachat, shoma'at, badakti, shibarta, halachnu, yadayim, shinatayim. And more quickly, potachat, shoma'at, badakti, shibarta, halachnu, yadayim, shnatenu. And the fourth way of seeing that the accent is on the penultimate syllable is when you have one of these two letters at the end of the word with an ah sound. So we have shomea, poteach, lehoshia, lakoach, ruach, mashiach. Now, sometimes these accents will show up in terms of providing thought groups in the prayer book, something similar to commas. So let's go see how that works. In some of the older prayer books, they may use a period, or dot, as a comma and a colon as the mark at the end of the sentence, as in this phrase. And you'll see them in red. Titbarach tzurenu malkenu v'golenu boreh kedoshim. End of sentence. Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkenu yotzer mishartim. V'asher mishartav kulam omdim berum olam. Umashmi'im biyira yachad bekol divrei Elohim chaim umelech olam. End of sentence. In more contemporary prayer books, they may use Roman-type punctuation, such as commas and periods. And you can see these in red. Kulam ahuvim, kulam brurim, kulam giborim, v'kulam osim be'ema u'bi'ira retzon konam. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובתורה, בשירה ובזמרה. ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים. End of sentence. Now let's go take a look at accents in the Bible. Most Hebrew Bibles will provide marks to show which syllable gets the accent. Makes life much easier. These accent marks were put in by the Masoretes, the same people who put in the vowels around the given consonants to help with proper pronunciation. The classic word for these additional marks is diacritical marks. In English, they are called trope marks or cantillation marks. And in Hebrew, they are called ta'amei hamikra, the reading signs. Let's go take. Here's what they look like. The tropes really look like various combinations of dots and squiggles written around the word. Some are written above the word, as this series shows, and some are written below the word. Look at some of these and what they do. The function of these Tamei Hamikra. One thing they certainly do, and which will be of great help to us, is that they mark which syllable gets the accent. They act as punctuation, like commas and semicolons, and even quotation marks. As such, they will join thought groups of words. And they act like stage directions for the reader. So, for example, in a printed play, you will see Frank laughing. That's not very funny. In Hebrew, the trope marks may indicate surprise, indecision, among other emotions. They also indicate the application of certain grammatical rules, which we will not get into at this point. And they indicate the music by which the words and phrases are chanted in the synagogue, which is why they are called cantillation marks. The tropes are generally divided into two groups. The conjunctive tropes are the ones that seem to join words together. The disjunctive trope is the one that marks the end of a thought group. The disjunctive tropes are usually look like and function much like a comma or a semicolon. And here are some very common examples. The two dots on top of the syllable functioning as a comma to mark the end of a phrase. The sign underneath the letter as looking like a wishbone functions much like a semicolon marking the middle of a sentence. And this little line to the left of the vowel is a mark of the end of a sentence functioning much like a period. The conjunctive tropes join words in a thought group until you come to a disjunctive trope. Now, there are so many of them, it's impossible to go through them here in this particular unit, but I'll give you some series of common conjunctive and disjunctive tropes. So we're functioning along with several here until we come to our common two dots on top of the letter, marking the end of a particular thought group, much as a comma. These two underneath the two words also form a kind of bracket that join the two words together. Another series is this squiggle and this triangle or dot pattern above the word, and also forming a particular series or thought group. A fourth is this with the diamond, tends to introduce a series of quotation marks. So this becomes, and God said to Moses, comma, quotation, and this little sign will usually mark the introduction of a quotation. These two dots, these two signs, looks like an S and then a bracket with a dot in it, also form a particular thought pattern. And usually towards the end of a sentence or in the middle of a sentence, you will see these two bracket type tropes, followed by the middle of a sentence mark, or obviously at the end of a sentence, this particular mark. Too much information? I'm afraid so. So let me just put it in a small nutshell for you. Basically, the accent in the Bible, if you see a trope mark on or under a syllable, that syllable gets the accent. That clear. If you're looking for thought groups, if you come across a disjunctive accent, that would be the end of the thought string. In the prayer book, however, we're going to have to rely on general punctuation marks. Otherwise, the best thing I can tell you is look for two-word phrases. Most often will be the thought phrase in the prayer book. We're going to do some reading practice now. This first section is taken from the prayer book, and we'll do the reading as a spaced reading so that you'll have an opportunity to hear how it is to be read and then repeat it, or say it yourself first and then listen to the corrected reading. We'll be reading up to the commas and to the periods, each in small sections. We'll do it first time slowly, and then we'll repeat that line a little bit more quickly. So, we're going to start now. Line 1. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. And now we'll do it a little bit more quickly. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. Line 2. המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים. ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. And now a little more quickly. המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים. ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. Good. Line 3. מה רבו מעשיך, אדוני. כולם בחוכמה עשית. מלאה הארץ קנייניך. And now more quickly. מה רבו מעשיך, אדוני. כולם בחוכמה עשית. מלאה הארץ קנייניך. Line 4. המלך המרומם לבדו מאז. המשובח והמפואר והמתנשא ממות עולם. And now more quickly, line 4. המלך המרומם לבדו מאז. המשובח והמפואר והמתנשא ממות עולם. Line 5. אלוהי עולם ברחמך הרבים. רחם עלינו אדון עוזנו, צור משגבנו, מגן ישענו, משכב בעדנו. And now more quickly. אלוהי עולם ברחמך הרבים. רחם עלינו אדון עוזנו, צור משכבנו, מגן ישענו, משכב בעדנו. Good. Now we'll get ready for doing a practice session from the Bible with the conjunctive and disjunctive accents. This passage, the Shema Yisrael, is the central affirmation in the Jewish prayer book, recited twice a day in traditional circles, both in the morning and the evening. This is the passage as it is taken from the Torah or from the Bible with the trope marks. So again, we'll be reading this as a spaced reading up to the disjunctive trope marks, both slowly and then a second time more quickly. So we'll start off, obviously, with line number 1. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And now more quickly, Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Line 2. Ve'ahavta. 8. Adonai Elohecha. בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. And now more quickly. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. Line 3. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. על לבבך. And now more quickly. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. Line 4. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. Line 4 again. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. Line 5. וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. And now more quickly. וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. Line 6. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Again. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. This concludes our unit on accents and practice reading. There are more practices available on this channel, both for the Hebrew of the Bible and for the Hebrew of the prayer book. And I invite you to take a look at those other units for further reading practice. Good luck. See you later. Bye.